Studio. Here's Josh Hennig.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night, 973 ESPN FM, the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City. Just you and me and you for the next power hour as the Phillies, a very odd loss, we'll call it, last night. But I'm also going to tell you why it's not a cause for alarm, but it does kind of confirm some of my previous feelings and thoughts about this Phillies team. We'll get into that this hour. Plus, interesting takes on the New Heights Show podcast with Jason Kelsey and his brother Travis. I want to touch on as well this hour. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea City. And I already see Jeff from Ocean City texting in at 609-403-0973. I will get to the news about Merrill Reese being honored this year as part of the Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrinement. I will get to that in just a bit, but I want to get to the Phillies first. So, Phillies first pitch in about an hour from now. So, looking back on last night's game, I had a couple specific thoughts, right? And I'm just curious, right? I'm just wondering, first of all, they lost the game because it was a bad day at the office for Sanchez and Turnbull, okay? No one's expecting Ruiz to go out there and have a perfect outing. And frankly, Ruiz, for the most part this year, has pitched well. But it looked like Sanchez ran out of gas. Turnbull didn't have anything good stuff-wise last night. The Merrifield error was definitely deflating. And it was a combination of all of those together that really turned that game into a loss. Ruiz and Turnbull combined for 4 earned runs in the loss, a loss of 2 runs. So you got to think that if Turnbull doesn't give up 2 runs, or both guys only give up 1 run each, you got a tie game going into the 9th inning. I'm convinced that Turnbull should not be coming out of the bullpen for this team. But the problem is, what do you do with him? The Phillies have a huge problem on their hands when it comes to their pitching staff. It is clearly obvious that their pitching staff has a ton of depth and they don't know what to do with it. Because you paid Taijuan Walker all this money and you're expecting him to go earn his paycheck, to go out there and make the money that you're paying him by going out and eating innings, right? And for the most part, Taijuan Walker has done his job. Look, he's not an elite pitcher. He's a solid pitcher who gets streaky, okay? Frankly, Taijuan Walker is like most of baseball. Most of the starting pitchers in Major League Baseball are solid to good pitchers. They're not elite. They're not great. They have moments. And you pay Taijuan Walker originally to come in here and be a better version of Kyle Gibson, right? Kyle Gibson was originally acquired a few years ago because he could eat up innings. He would go out there every 5 days, give you a solid 6-7 innings, and he did the job. Well, Taijuan Walker, if he is supposed to be a better version of Kyle Gibson, you could argue he has already lived up to that expectation with the Phillies. He's eating innings already. He has 43 innings already in the games that he has started this year. I understand that when you look at Taijuan Walker, he is frustrating. But he's already showed you, again, he has had 8 starts this year. He has pitched over 43 innings. That means that Taijuan Walker is almost averaging 6 innings a start. That in and of itself tells you he's doing his job. Now, have some of those starts been rough? Yeah. First start back, not great. That start a couple weeks ago against the Giants in San Francisco, also no good. But he has had some good games intermingled in there, like the London game over the weekend. So it puts the Phillies in a difficult predicament, and they decided that Turnbull was the guy to go to the bullpen instead of Walker. Whether we agree with that or not, that's what they decided to do. The problem is Turnbull has allowed at least 1 earned run in 5 of his last 6 relief appearances. Only 3 relief appearances the entire year has Turnbull only allowed 0 earned runs. It's obvious he's not comfortable in this role. It's obvious that he would be better suited in a different role. But yet, you felt like you had to go to him last night because this is a Phillies team that has already leaned on their bullpen probably more than they wanted to this year. I've told you guys this here before on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennick hanging out with you on a Thursday night. I am genuinely concerned about this bullpen because beyond a couple of guys, there's nobody in that bullpen that I look at and I say, you know what, if that guy's on the mound, I am not worried one bit. We don't live in that kind of world anymore. But what have you done? You have played, heading into tonight, 67 games. Almost half of those games, we have seen Jose Alvarado and Jeff Hoffman. And Strahm is right behind those guys. So you have 3 guys who are pitching almost every other game at this point. Do we really think that is sustainable? You know, some of the most famous pitching seasons, those guys are pitching about 70 games. Jose Alvarado and Jeff Hoffman are on track to beat those numbers. Right? So, if you're the Phillies, what do you do in this situation? I think that the answer is they got to get another arm coming out of the bullpen at some point. Because you are not going to survive in the long run if you keep asking Alvarado, Hoffman, and what's his name? I just forgot off the top of my head. Oh, Strahm. If you keep asking Alvarado, Hoffman, and Strahm to go out there every other day, at some point these guys are going to run out of gas. And frankly, you did see that Dominguez and Soto, they have pitched solid this year, not great. Dominguez is looking like he's getting better, actually, as the year is going on. Soto, he's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, as I told you before. Orion Kerkering, he's still developing and evolving into what he can be. You got to get one more dude after those 3 guys. And I understand, I do, that when you look at Dominguez, the Phillies say this guy can evolve into that next arm that we need. I'm not willing to take that chance. And if Turnbull and Soto are going to keep giving me the performances they are, it just proves the point I've made all along. They need one more arm out of the bullpen. It's just a fact of life. Because you can't ask Alvarado, Hoffman, and Strahm to go out there and throw 77 to 80 games this year and don't expect some depreciation of those players. And Turnbull is proving to you that he is not the answer either. So that's my biggest takeaway from the game last night. I don't read too much into anything I saw last night because I know that Trey Turner and Brandon Marsh are coming back soon. So I know that eventually this staff is going to have better players behind them, behind the pitching staff. Brandon Marsh will probably replace Dave Dahl, even though I don't want to see it happen because I think Dahl deserves a chance to stay up here. And I'm assuming I'm assuming that Trey Turner, when he comes up, they'll send Weston Wilson down. So I'm assuming that is what the plan is for the Phillies. And to get Trey Turner back and to get Brandon Marsh back will definitely bring a boost to the offense. So in the short term, I'm not stressing the starting lineup right now because he scored 6 runs last night. If Turnbull doesn't have the worst game of his Phillies career, you would have a better night last night. So that's at least how I look at it. We'll check back on the text board. Coming up next, I see George from Summers Point along with Jeff from Ocean City. 609-403-0973. Your DMs into 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Don't forget, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., this week's SeizeTheDeal.com offer. Get a $50 gift certificate for just $25. The Jester's Dive Bar in Rio Grande. Again, the deal goes live tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at SeizeTheDeal.com. A $50 gift certificate to Jester's Dive Bar in Rio Grande for half the price. Only tomorrow morning at SeizeTheDeal.com. We'll get to your text coming up next on the Phillies, as well as Merrill Reese, the great honor that he is receiving. We'll get into that. I have some thoughts on Merrill Reese, plus my reaction to, I wrote the story on 973ESPN.com about this. Jason Kelce says that he would drop all of his broadcasting responsibilities, everything he does, if he could be a minority stake owner in the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll give you my thoughts on that coming up next as well. Here, Josh and Nick hanging out with you. Game Night, 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 a.m. with Unsportsmanlike on 97.3 ESPN with Evan Cohen, Super Bowl champion Chris Canty, and Michelle Small.
Can't wake up without it.
Brought to you by the Gallery Bar Book and Games at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day. Veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend, made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend, plus receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Diego.
Hi, Diego. It's Jennifer Coolidge. I just want to say your cashback match makes me feel so special. It really inspired me.
That's great. Doubling the cashback you've earned at the end of your first year is what we do.
Well, I'm doubling everything now. Double dating, double dipping, double feature, double header, double whammy. Basically double or nothing.
You earn, we match. Discover Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Are you ready to smell better naked? I'm Dr. Shannon Klingman, the OBGYN creator of Lumi, the whole body deodorant that's clinically proven to control odor for 72 hours on pits, feet, privates, and beyond. It's pH optimized to safely and effectively control odor anywhere you have it, but wish you didn't. Plus, it's proven to work better than a shower with soap alone. Whether you shower twice a day or 3 times a week, Lumi works better. And who doesn't want zero body odor? With over 200,000 5-star reviews, I'm so sure you're going to love it, or you can return it for free.
There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 500 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 500, like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 500 for 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LUME deodorant.com, code 500 to save 15% today.
Hi, this is Brighton Richards from Apex East Roofing. The blonde-haired girl in the pink truck. We are the first and only certified fortified roofer in New Jersey, able to install hurricane, wind, and hail-secured roofs. The spring is the perfect time of year to get these roofs installed so that you're prepared for the upcoming hurricane season. Certified fortified roofs can also lower your insurance premiums. For more info, visit apexeastroofing.com.
Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds. If you have ugly yellow toe fungus, you got to hear about the secret 2-minute trick that I found for my husband. It works from both the inside and the outside. Thousands of people are using it to get rid of their toe fungus. You can check it out at crystalflush.com. Jake started off with a small spot on his big toe, and then it spread and got really bad. His toes were nasty. It was so embarrassing. He was afraid to take his socks off. He hid his yellow and crumbly toes from everyone. He tried everything to get rid of it. Nothing helped. And then we found crystalflush.com. It was the only thing that worked. In just a few weeks, his toes looked amazing. He's now walking around barefoot again. You guys need to try this. I'm telling you, this stuff is different. It's not sold in stores, but go check it out at crystalflush.com. They'll even let you try it risk-free, so you have nothing to lose. But whatever you do, don't let it get worse. You don't have to live with this anymore. Go check it out now. Just click over to crystalflush.com.
Looking for an incredible deal on gig speed internet? Now through June 24th, get the lowest price ever for Xfinity gig speed internet with unlimited data included. Bring on the good stuff. Switch at xfinity.com today. Restrictions apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity gateway. Actual speeds vary.
Powered by the all-new BetParks New Jersey Casino and Sportsbook app. BetParks.com. This is the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network.
Are the Braves still a threat to the Phillies this year? I'm Nick Earnshaw with your South Jersey Sports Center and with your 97.3 ESPN question of the day. The Atlanta Braves lost their 5th game in a row last night for the first time since 2017 and are also 10 games back of the Philadelphia Phillies right now in the NL East. It got us thinking, are the Atlanta Braves still a threat to the Philadelphia Phillies this season? In my estimation, I'd have to say no. Their pitching has been very suspect, and they've had a ton of injuries on top of that. I don't think they're the same World Series team as before. Let us know your thoughts by texting at 609-403-0973 or use the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Let us know what you think. Are the Braves still a threat to the Philadelphia Phillies this season? 609-403-0973 is the number. Your forecast is next.
Did you know that New Jersey is leading the nation in clean energy investments?
Really, New Jersey?
And all with one thing in mind. You.
Me?
Uh-huh. New Jersey's Clean Energy Program offers incentives and services that benefit New Jersey residents, businesses, education, government, and nonprofit entities to help them save energy, money, and the environment.
Save money while saving the planet. Who knew?
Now you do. Visit njcleanenergy.com to learn even more.
Maybe we should change our nickname to the Clean Energy State.
A message from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities.
From the Town Square, New Jersey Info and Weather Network, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dan Zarrow. Tomorrow could be a severe weather day, a hot and stormy end to the work week. Tonight, skies stay clear, low of 68, and tomorrow starts fine. Sunshine and hot temperatures, high of 90. Clouds build through the afternoon, then strong thunderstorms possible from late afternoon into the evening hours. We're back to sunshine on Saturday, cooler and more comfortable, high 82, 80 on Sunday. Get weather 24/7 wherever you are. Download our free mobile app today.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card, good for use at Jester's Dive Bar for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
SeizeTheDeal.com. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.
Going to the text board at 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. So I do not want to neglect. The NFL announced today that the Philadelphia Eagles, they found no evidence of tampering, no irregularities in how they negotiated and acquired Saquon Barkley this offseason. There was speculation that the Eagles had, basically, for those who don't understand, all professional sports have rules about when you can contact free agents, when you can talk to them, and what environment, what situation, what sort of circumstances. There's like just pages and pages worth of rules when it comes to this stuff. And most of it is common sense. Most of it is put in place to prevent there from being any unfair advantages given to any particular teams when it comes to acquiring any players. And the NFL has said the Eagles did nothing wrong, Saquon Barkley, which we all kind of knew anyway. It all stemmed from Saquon Barkley basically speaking out of turn a little bit about the Eagles and Howie Roseman. It was a misunderstanding. And then James Franklin made the situation even worse because he's an idiot at Penn State. I mean, he actually was the first person to dug the hole, and then Saquon kind of like tripped trying to get around the hole and put the dirt back in the hole. So, but anyway, but the larger point is the NFL did find that the Falcons violated the tampering rules of the league, and that the Falcons were the team that didn't just do it with Kirk Cousins, but 3 players: Kirk Cousins, Darnell Mooney, the wide receiver, and Charlie Warner, the backup tight end. And they fined them $250,000, and they have docked them a 5th-round pick. I got to tell you guys, this is the most pathetic, soft move by the NFL. The NFL is basically saying, if you break our rules, we'll slap you on the wrist. That is completely unacceptable. It is completely pathetic that the NFL spent months investigating this. And they basically told the Atlanta Falcons, give us money to cover the expenses that we incurred investigating you guys violating our rules. That's all it was. The NFL is like a lawyer that goes to court, wins the court case, and asks the losing party in the case to pay for their legal fees. That's all this was. It was absolutely pathetic. The NFL and the Falcons should be ashamed of themselves. And, people keep talking about there's a conspiracy between Dan Hurley and Adrian Wojnarowski when it came to the Lakers story over the weekend. You could almost argue there might be a conspiracy between the NFL and the Falcons, because it's like they didn't want to hurt poor old Arthur Blank, who's getting old. The owner of the Atlanta Falcons, the guy's like in his 80s at this point. It's almost like they didn't want to like punish him too harshly or something. Like, the whole thing was just dumb to me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. It made no sense to me. To me, it's absolutely pathetic and ridiculous. But I digress. All right, on the text board, George Summers Point. We'll start off with him because he had a specific question about the Phillies. He says, with the injury to JT Realmuto, do you think this will affect the Phillies pitching staff, their ability to continue their league-leading statistical season, as JT has been noted as a real stabilizer? Also, do you think that it'd be best for the Phillies to play Stubbs over Marchand or any other catcher that has been able to watch and learn from Realmuto? George Summers Point, appreciate the text. So I mentioned this yesterday, a couple things. One, I don't think it's going to extremely impact the pitching staff, because of the fact that I think most of these guys in the Phillies pitching staff all seem to be guys who they work with JT Realmuto more so than JT Realmuto telling them what to do, right? So it really seems like that, based on reports out there, that Garrett Stubbs has done a great job at mirroring JT Realmuto as a catcher, doing the same type of game planning, comparing notes. And so I think Stubbs is going to be fine in that role. The reason why Marchand is playing is, number one, because they don't want to overwork Garrett Stubbs, who is a backup catcher. He's not a starting catcher in Major League Baseball. And number two, Javier Marchand speaks the same language as Christopher Sanchez and Ranger Suarez. And there's probably a part of the Phillies that say that it's a very convenient and easy pairing to have two guys who speak the same language, their native language, Spanish, basically working together. And baseball history is full of these scenarios where certain catchers will work with certain pitchers because they feel more comfortable, or they speak the same language, or whatever it may be. So I tend to look at the Marchand situation as it's a necessary, because you got to give Stubbs a day off at some point, and you don't want to overwork one guy just because he is the best receiving option of a catcher. The other thing is with Stubbs and JT is that obviously Stubbs is a step down from JT defensively and offensively. But I don't think that it should destabilize the staff, right? I don't think it would, I don't think it's going to be a negative long term. And I don't think the Phillies pitching staff had the problems last night because Marchand was behind the plate. I think that's very presumptuous. I think that Turnbull, his stuff was horrible last night. It doesn't matter who was behind the plate. It could have been Johnny Bench or Ivan Rodriguez or whoever you want to name. I think Turnbull still would have had a bad outing last night. I think Sanchez, and I hate to say it this way, I think Sanchez was due for a rough outing. Because remember, Ranger Suarez and Zach Wheeler both have had rough outings, rough starts already this year. So I felt that Sanchez, you could argue, was due to have a rough game here, right? This is a guy who has given up no more than 3 runs in all but 2 starts this year. And one of them was last night. So at least for me, I look at Sanchez last night as not Marchand behind the plate, but as much as the fact that he was due for a rough game and it was bound to happen at some point. That's at least how I look at it. Jeff from Motion City chimes in at 609-403-0973. Josh and I hanging out with you guys on a Thursday here on the Power Hour. Jeff says, Merrill Reese is an icon in Philadelphia and should remain in his spot until he no longer wants to do it. The Flyers were wrong to force Gene Hart out. Merrill calls it as he sees it. He's not afraid to criticize his team when they're playing poorly. He's also a great guy. Will sit down with anyone and discuss the Birds. Congratulations to Mr. Reese. So if those didn't hear, Merrill Reese is the 2024 recipient of the Pete Rozelle Radio and Television Award. It is an award given every year by the Pro Football Hall of Fame to honor a television or radio broadcaster in the league. And it's typically an award that gets handed out to national broadcasters, right? Some of the broadcasters who have won this award are Joe Buck and Al Michaels and John Madden and Pat Summerall. And then, of course, you have people like the voice of NFL films, the original voice, John Facenda. He got the honor. So, like, historically, there has been a lot of people who have gotten this award who are big names nationally. Merrill Reese is one of the few broadcasters who has gotten it, who is a local broadcaster. And he is right now the longest tenured radio broadcaster of anyone in the NFL. He is entering his 48th season calling Eagles games. There are many of you listening to Sound of My Voice who are not even 48 years old. And Merrill Reese has been broadcasting Eagle games longer than you've been alive. So, first of all, congratulations, like Jeff from Motion City said, to Merrill Reese, not just on the honor of getting this recognition for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but also congratulations to Merrill for now entering his 48th year as a broadcaster, as you hear the Eagles games right here on 97.3 ESPN FM, South Jersey's Eagles affiliate station. But I think the other side of this conversation is, I was saying this to Mike Gill about an hour ago on the Sports Bash. Philly sports fans are so fortunate to have such an amazing history of great broadcasters. Jeff from Ocean City mentioned Gene Hart, and yeah, it was a very unpopular move when the Flyers basically pushed Gene Hart out the door. But I gotta tell you guys, I don't think people appreciate enough. We get to air the Flyers radio broadcasts here on 97.3 ESPN. I think Tim Saunders might be one of the most underrated broadcasters in the game of hockey. The guy, he knows how to flow with a hockey game in a way that I don't think every broadcaster knows how to do. As we were watching the Stanley Cup Finals on television, Game 3 is tonight, Panthers versus the Oilers. Guys like Sean McDonough, guys like Steve Levy are similar to Saunders in the fact that they have an incredible instinct, I'll call it, for understanding how to, ride the wave and the flow of a hockey game. And I think Tim Saunders doesn't get enough credit for that. So, the fact that you had Gene Hart for all those years, it was almost 30 years. And then Tim Saunders now in the recent decades is an incredible lineage as well. And, at the same time, during Merrill Reese's run, before Merrill Reese was the Eagles broadcaster, it was Harry Callis with the Phillies. And Harry, a legend of himself, people didn't know how great Harry was nationally until he started doing some of the NFL Films work. So he started doing some of those Barbasol commercials. Harry, though, was a national treasure himself. He also was in the Baseball Hall of Fame as Harry Callis. And the handoff from Harry to now Tom McCarthy and Scott Fransky, it is an incredible lineage as well. And I know that, there was a time that Tom McCarthy was viewed as like, oh, you're the guy replacing Harry Callis. But I think Tom McCarthy has done an amazing job at being the voice of the Phillies for this generation. And I say that because in today's world, the demands and the requirements, the expectations of broadcasters are so much different than they were years ago. And I think Tom McCarthy has done an amazing job at adapting and evolving and working with the people that he has. I know that there's not many people who can handle broadcasting with a guy like John Kruk the way he does. There is almost nobody out there who can do what he does with this changing cast of characters to broadcast games. Some games it's John Kruk, some games it's Ben Davis. Some games it's Ruben Amaro Jr. And we take for granted how difficult that is. And also in Philadelphia, you have, Mark Zumoff. I mean, he was the Sixers TV broadcaster for decades. What an amazing broadcaster, an incredible human being as well, to go with that. And then Tom McGinnis right here on 97.3 ESPN, part of the Sixers radio network for decades as well. He does an amazing job. So you just look at the entire picture of Philadelphia sports. It's not just Merrill Reese. Philadelphia sports fans are some of the most fortunate fan bases out there. I know people will like to bring up, if you talk about other broadcasts, Vin Scully with the Dodgers and Jack Buck with the Cardinals and, John Sterling with the Yankees. Now Michael Kay, right? What is it? Dan Schulman up there with the Blue Jays. Like there is an incredible list of people who have been sports broadcasters in different markets. But the difference is that most of those markets don't have like the elite roster that Philadelphia does. I was saying to Mike Gill earlier on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh, I think hanging out with you on a Thursday night. For me, when I look back on my opportunities to listen to other games, whether it's on the radio or consume on television in different markets, and you hear, and I don't want to disparage anyone specifically, but there are a lot of people in a lot of markets who don't have the quality of broadcasters. I mean, some of these broadcasters sound like they don't know what to say sometimes. Their voice inflections just sound boring or disinterested. And I understand that, not everyone has the same level of interest, but, I think of a guy like, oh my goodness, what is his name? And I got to look it up. I want to make sure I get the guy's name right. Eli Gold, who broadcasts Alabama football games forever. It seemed like. I mean, he was the voice of Alabama football for decades. That's an example of someone in a different market who has an amazing voice, an amazing passion for the game, and brings a level of fire to the table as a play-by-play guy in a local market. You know, I mentioned Vince Scully. You know, anytime you got a chance to flip on a Dodgers game and Vince Scully was on, you were in for a treat because the stories he would tell in between pitches. I'm a big fan of broadcasters who are true to themselves, and you know, if your strength is to ride the flow of the game, whether your strength is to tell stories, whether your strength is to be great at putting your color commentator in a position to be successful, whatever your strength is, I have a lot of respect for those guys. And I think Merrill Reese is part of an amazing list of Philly sports broadcasters that we don't always appreciate these people enough. So serious congratulations to Merrill Reese. And of course, Merrill Reese back on the Eagles radio network this football season right here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh from Cape May chimes in at 609-403-0973, says Tom McCarthy is the only person I would want taking the reins from Harry Kalas. I hope he has an equally awesome career. Well, McCarthy is already done in terms of volume of sports more than Harry Kalas did. You know, Tom McCarthy, he calls NFL games, right? He calls college basketball games, and he calls Phillies games. Tom McCarthy has an incredible resume himself as a broadcaster. Now, I don't know exactly how he's going to get honored at the end because McCarthy broadcasts so many different sports. It kind of puts him in this weird situation where he's kind of like Bob Costas, where it's like, well, what is he best at? What does he do well? How do you determine this? I think Tom McCarthy deserves a ton of credit for his versatility. To me, versatility is one of the most difficult parts of this business because there is a ton of people who don't understand that. And I don't mean this to be dismissive, but 90% of this job, as whether you're on the microphone like me and Mike Gill here on 97.3 ESPN, whether you're calling high school games, college games, professional sporting events, a lot of these jobs that we are all fortunate to have, 90% of it you never hear or see. There is so much work that goes into what we're doing when we're not behind a microphone that for me, I genuinely appreciate so much what these different guys like Tom McCarthy can do because they can bounce from sport to sport and moment to moment. And I can't get over the fact that Tom McCarthy, that guy is doing so much every single year. You know, I was listening to Bob Wischusen, right? He calls games for ESPN radio for college football. He does all kinds of sports. And he said he doesn't do baseball, he said, because he said his wife would kill him and probably divorce him because he basically promises her, look, during football season, during basketball season, I got to be somewhere. I got to do something. And Bob Wischusen says, I can't do all that because my wife basically wouldn't let me, right? And Tom McCarthy, he does it all. Like, really, the only thing Tom McCarthy doesn't do is hockey at this point. Like, the guy does so many different games, so many different broadcasts. So you could argue that he has already proven himself to be a more versatile broadcaster than Harry Kalas. Now, Harry Kalas had that amazing voice where he could voice NFL films. He could voice commercial voiceover work. He could call a baseball game. So I don't know if Harry Kalas would have wanted to do all the work that Tom McCarthy is doing for as long as he's doing. Like, I can see Harry Kalas saying, hey, I would love to do more NFL opportunities or do more of this and do more of that. But it just wasn't in the cards for him. So I tend to look at Tom McCarthy and say Joshua K. May is right. There is no better person to go for Harry Kalas than a guy who is arguably more versatile than even Harry Kalas was, the broadcaster. All right, more text coming up, 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Josh Eddy hanging out with you on 97.3 ESPN.
Hey, South Jersey, this is Billy Schwein. Tune into The Locker Room every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN. Each weekend in The Locker Room, you will get passionate sports talk from a fan's perspective, along with interviews with some of the biggest names in sports. That's every Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to noon in The Locker Room with me, Billy Schwein, on 97.3 ESPN and the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, because nothing could be finer than talking sports with a Schweiner.
80 million listeners depend on AM radio to always be on, delivering news, sports, talk, traffic, and weather reports you can trust. AM radio also delivers vital emergency information when you need it most. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress to pass the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act to keep AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Say hello to Lumi, the whole body deodorant developed with your whole body in mind. Pits, privates, and beyond. It's outrageously effective and clinically proven to block odor all day, anywhere you have body odor and wish you didn't, and keeps controlling odor up to 72 hours. Lumi is different. Developed by an OBGYN, Lumi goes beyond masking odor to control body odor in a way certain other deodorants and soap don't. Start controlling body odor everywhere, not just armpits. Experience whole body freshness from Lumi Whole Body Deodorant today. Go to LumiDeodorant.com to be the best smelling you of all time. There's a special offer for listeners. Use code 203 and get 15% off your first purchase with code 203. Like the Lumi Starter Pack, Acidified Body Wash, or new Lumi Plus Sweat Control. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 203. For 15% off your first purchase. Love it or return it for free. That's LumeDeodorant.com, code 203. To save 15% today. LumeDeodorant.com.
This Father's Day, the Home Depot has same-day delivery on the perfect gift to help Dad be everything he can be. Because your dad is more than just a dad. He's groundskeeper of the yard, the perfecter of the patio, and the cleaner of the clippings. Let the Home Depot help power Dad's doing with the convenience and gas-like power of Milwaukee cordless outdoor tools. Plus, get up to $150 off select Milwaukee tools. For everything Dad is, find the perfect gift at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Order select and stock items by 4 p.m. subject to availability.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential. But finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Save thousands at Matt Blatt Kia. Get out of your old trade today, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Go to MattBlattKiaNJ.com for more details. That's MattBlattKiaNJ.com.
It's gotta be a
Matt Blatt Kia.
Why do so many dogs suffer from weight issues, skin problems, messy poops, and low energy? It could be the popular dog food you put in their bowl each day.
Cody was sleeping a lot, wasn't playing.
She was very lethargic and not moving around. Dry kibble just wasn't cutting it.
That's why, after more than 45 years of experience of helping dogs make complete health turnarounds, veterinarian Dr. Marty created Nature's Blend. It's a freeze-dried raw dog food made with wholesome ingredients like premium meats, seeds, vegetables, and fruit. And once dog parents switch their pups to Nature's Blend, the results can be astounding.
She's got her energy back. She's running around like she did like 5 years ago.
Miraculously, she's just feeling all around better. She's like a new dog. Thank you, Dr. Marty.
Get your dog started today and save up to 54% off Nature's Blend. Plus, receive a free pack of our best-selling beef liver dog treats. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511. All dogs are unique. Your dog's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JBC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
We could try to explain what it feels like to get your work done on a John Deere. The way a Z-Track mower finishes in half the time you thought it would. Or how much easier it is to move mountains of soil with the 1 Series tractor. We could even go into detail about how it feels to tow up to 4,000 pounds behind a Gator XUV. But if you really want to know what it's like to run with us, you just have to get in the seat. Learn more at johndeere.com/get in the seat or visit a dealer near you.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the hot streak and the hot tubs. Go for a relaxing massage and for wild nights with your entourage. Go to play all day and to dance all night. Go for the rooms with the ocean views that go on forever. Go for paradise with a pair of dice. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Must be 21 or older. Party responsibly. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennick on 97.3 ESPN and on the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app. Powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Text board is open at 609-403-0973. If you didn't hear, the Phillies lineup is out and it's brought to you by Clark's Moving and Storage. Moving is a breeze with Clark's Moving and Storage. I described this lineup to Mike Gill on the Sports Bash earlier here on 97.3 ESPN as the Michael Keaton from Batman lineup. You know, for those who remember the first Michael Keaton Batman movie where he has the scene where he's trying to, make the Joker think that he's, not Batman and ignore him, where he acts like a crazy person. He says, "You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts." This is the let's get nuts lineup tonight for the Phillies because you lead off with Kyle Schwarber, Castellanos, and Harper. I already don't like Castellanos in the tool. I feel like that's been a very awkward setup for them. But then you have Bryson Stott in the cleanup spot behind Harper, followed by Sosa, Dahl, Merrifield, Stubbs, and Rojas. So very strange situation they put Stott in, putting him that high in the lineup. It's Merrifield playing third base, giving Bohm a day off. So a few things here. Number one, I don't like Merrifield at third. I felt like that should have been Sosa at third. Keep Merrifield in the middle of the infield. I don't think putting him at third is going to make him any less of a make him throw the ball any less difficult. Changing the angle of him in the field, right? And then I am curious to see how long do they stick with the Castellanos in the two? Because to me, if I'm the Phillies, I would put Merrifield in the 2, Castellanos at 4, and then Stott at 5, Sosa 6, Dahl 7, Stubbs 8, Rojas 9, or something along those lines. I feel like that's a much better way of doing it. But again, I call this let's get nuts lineup for the Phillies tonight against the Red Sox, which brings us to Jeff from Ocean City's question. He says, what are the odds of Harper homers tonight? Well, Jeff from Ocean City, I hope you get your money back because it's not great. Because they're facing Tanner Houck tonight, and Tanner Houck has allowed 2 home runs the entire year. And they were the right-handed hitters. Actually, left-handed hitters are hitting worse against him than righties. Lefties are batting 195 against him this year with a 236 slug percentage. If you're wondering if that's not good or if that's good or bad, that's really bad. Okay. And he now has each of his last 3 starts as Hawk going at least 6 innings with at least 6 strikeouts in each of those outings. So he is arguably the Red Sox best pitcher this year. You saw Cutter a couple days ago. Cutter Crawford, he's their second best pitcher. Tanner Houck is arguably their best pitcher. So, yeah, not feeling great about Harper going yard tonight. So, yes, gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And if you can unrack that bet on Harper, I would as soon as possible. But that's just my analysis of the game tonight. Text board is open at 609-403-0973. Georgia Galloway chimes in on our Merrill Reese being honored by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He says, Merrill Reese is unmatched, says George in Galloway, when it comes to truly capturing the emotions of the fan base he is broadcasting for. He's great in the little things as well, such as announcing the score and situation over and over again for the listeners who have just tuned in. My childhood years, falling in love with the Eagles of football in general are, to a large degree, thanks to him. I listened to his broadcast on a portable radio on Sundays after church, and it was sometimes even better than getting to watch the game. He is the best in the business, I mentioned by all accounts. I've heard he's generally a nice person. Josh, I believe you'll endorse him being called the GOAT. That is George and Galloway. A couple things, George. Number one, appreciate you taking the time to type all that about Merrill Reese. You know, you mentioned about the emotions. One of my favorite things about Merrill Reese is that he's genuine as a broadcaster. He'll tell you if the team is playing bad. He'll criticize teams if they're playing bad. He's not out there making things up as he goes along, right? So I think that that's part of the reason why fans like you can say he's truly capturing the emotions of a fan base, because he'll say this team is playing bad. He'll overtly come out and say it. And I think he says what the fans are thinking at times as a broadcaster while conveying the game. To the genuinely nice person part, I have always said that the true measure of a human being is how they treat people when they don't think anyone is watching, when they don't know that anyone is noticing, right? How they treat people behind the scenes, how they treat, the people they don't have to be quote unquote nice to, right? And Merrill Reese is definitely one of those people. I have, thanks to, the times that he has been on different shows here on 97.3 ESPN, I have had the chance to talk to Merrill Reese off the air before and after interviews. And he is definitely in the top 10 most polite human beings I have ever talked to. He is just a genuinely polite, good-hearted individual. And I can say the same thing about Tom McCarthy and Tim Saunders. Tom McCarthy, we've had him on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill over the years. Good human being, genuine individual, is not pretentious at all. Tim Saunders the same way. Tim Saunders doesn't say, I'm the broadcaster for the Flyers. He's Tim Saunders, and he happens to have this amazing job broadcasting Flyers games. So I can personally attest to, and Tom McGinnis as well. Tom McGinnis is a very humble guy as well. It's all of those guys are genuinely good human beings. And I can attest to that because as someone who has to get them on the phone for different shows, has had to, try to reach out to them to get them on shows or whatever the circumstances may be, they've always been polite. They've always been courteous. They've always been genuine. And I can tell you, not everyone is like that. Not every person I have had interactions with in this business has been like that. And when you have somebody who doesn't just give you the generic, yep, I'm ready to go. Thanks for calling me. Thanks for having me on. But says, how are you doing today? How is the weather down there? Who am I, and thank you for, reaching out to me or calling me or whatever it may be. There is a level of genuineness between what I have experienced in this business with people like Tom McGinnis, Merrill Reese, Tom McCarthy, and Tim Saunders, versus some other people over the years. Mark Zumoff falls in the same category, an incredible human being, right? And I think that is, to me, what makes them as broadcasters even better. There's all those stories out there of, Harry Callis and how he treated people, how he was a good human being as well. So, I think that them being great human beings probably has something to do with them being great broadcasters because their relatability to the audience, their ability to connect with the audience probably has an offshoot off of them being genuine people as well. All right. Thanks to everybody for texting in. Great text today. George and Galloway, George and Summers Point, Jeff from Motion City. Great stuff from all you guys and more. I'll be back tomorrow here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN following Mike Gill on the Sports Bash. Phillies, hopefully they get the win tonight because they got to go to Baltimore this weekend. Baltimore, one of the best teams in all of baseball. Have a great night, everybody.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal.
Get a $50 gift card good for use at Jester's Dive Bar for just $25.
Get this great deal starting Friday at 9 a.m. at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, chances are this deal will sell quickly. For more info on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com.